we had some selling in the market over the past couple of days. We had Nvidia earnings also that stirred up some stuff where there was extreme bullishness off open, and then it pulled all the way back roughly about 10 points, potentially shaking some folks out and being a little bit uneasy because people just think the stocks go up all the time and it'll just never pull back, right? So we had some iffiness in Nvidia and how that may shake out going into the end of November, right? And especially going into 2025, there's some things on the horizon that are still a little unsettling, meaning there's a lot of bullishness and a lot of bullishness around the crypto, around a lot of associations with crypto, as well as association within the tech market. But we're seeing tech pull back, which tech has been running the stock market for so long. So are we seeing a rotation where money is being put? And then into 2025, what does that look like, especially if the T word, right? The tariffs are in place. How will that affect that international trade in American-made products for a lot of companies that do international exchanges and international purchasing and business overseas as well, all right? So that's a mouthful. Welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. B. I'm a holistic life and business coach and strategist for entrepreneurs and thought leaders, also an investor and options trader. We're jumping into futures inside of our community. I'll be talking about that on more videos to come and giving some examples about my own journey in the futures market. I've traded it before and then jumping back into it during this season, and then not confusing too many people, just slowly educating how to long-term invest, how to look at options trading as a way to generate income, and then also futures trading to be able to generate income as well on less amount of money and risk too. All right. All that being said, I want to earn your subscription. I want to earn your likes. If you've been here before and you're not subscribed and also you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and smash that right now. I would greatly appreciate it, especially if you just keep looking at these videos and it's like, man, this dude's updating us, giving us some value, right? I'm looking at some of the educational videos as well, which I'm going to be coming out with more from my indicators that I use, simplifying that, what it looks like when you're trying to price action and movement back and forth. Where do I buy long-term? How do I look at that? So I'll be doing some refreshes on some education. All right, let's jump into today's video. And without further ado, would love to have you inside of Leverage University. That is where my coaching and consulting practice is, from life coaching and psychology and NLP work, purpose-driven work, people that want to develop side businesses in general, want to maybe become a full-time entrepreneur, right? That may be your dream and goal, but if it's not, how do you just generate extra income, right? So we're talking about all those things inside of Leverage University, as well as our trading floor, which is maybe why you came to this video. I want to learn how to invest in the financial markets and also trade, generate some income, but maybe I just want to long-term invest. Maybe I don't have much risk tolerance and I want to learn how to have less risk, more value, but be able to take some risk, but understand what I'm doing. All right. If all that's making sense to you, I would love to have you inside. All right. We are having a Black Friday sale. So at the time of this recording, you can type in BF 2024, BF 2024 for our university, right? If that is no longer active, I'm sorry, that is past, but at the time of this recording, BF 2024 will get you 20% off of our university level. All right. If you do want mentorship with myself 101, from life coaching into purpose-driven work and also understanding this skill set of trading 101, there is our mentorship, and there is a small percentage off of that as well if you book a call from that link. So go ahead and go ahead and click that link down below, save it, check it out after this. Would love to have you inside of our community or on a one-on-one call to talk about one-on-one mentorship. All right. We also have our boot camp coming up December 3rd through the 5th. So this is a great start for anyone into 2025, where you can get a new monthly start, get your brokerages set up, get your potential money put over there. Would love to have you inside of there. This will be recorded as well. So if you do invest into this, you will get those 3-day recordings, but would love to have you live to ask any questions you would want in a group setting, and I'll answer them live on there for those 3 days. Okay. So make sure you join that. You can see here, you'll only be charged if you're accepted. So you can go ahead and enter there, say, hey, I'm interested. And then I'll just click accept, or maybe I'll reach out and say, hey, I would love to have further talks with you. Have any questions? All right. So go ahead and join that wait list. Would love to have you for our stock trading boot camp for 3 days. Okay. Appreciate you so much for that. Now let's jump into the value here. All right. Fear and greed index. Why did my thumbnail today say there may be some more selling on the horizons? There's a couple of indicators for bullishness. I'll give a bull case and then a bearish case short term. Okay. I'm not talking about a crash or anything coming just yet. I'm just talking about short term. All right, what are some indications that I'm seeing that we maybe could have some lower coming soon, or a sector rotation that's coming? All right, you can see here that we've been going from extreme greed back to fear, back to neutral, back to greed. So I always teach any new investors and my experienced ones, if you ever just want to come back, as y'all know, to a very simplistic way of investing, just look at this fear and greed index and just say, hey, are we in greed? If we're in greed a little bit, I may be a little bit cautious that we're bullish. We look solid, but we could have that pullback, and I'm going to ride the wave. That typically when we're in neutral or into the greed lower end, we're in a healthy market. All right. When we get closer into this extreme greed, that is where you see those massive sells come in, or pullbacks, or healthy retracements, as we call it. Right. It's not crashes, nothing like that. Just out of the blue, you're like, why is the market so red today? It's because we were probably in extreme greed. All right. Now, if we come back into neutral and we start getting into fear, typically what is happening right now is the market's really not liking how it's responding to maybe Nvidia earnings, or maybe the market is just not responding great to maybe future predictions of maybe tariffs, the T word, that may be on the horizon, a little bit uncertain with what will happen when President-elect Trump gets in office and inaugurated in January. So I'll talk about all that right here. All right, let's jump into the charts. All right, the charts is where the money is made. So if you haven't listened to my charting video, or this looks like gibberish to you, as I'm going over the levels, especially for my newbies and beginners, I want this channel to be for everybody, okay, and educational for everybody. So I'll talk to my experienced folks real quick about what levels we have and what signals and signs that I'm seeing, okay? So the only level on the S&P 500, okay, I'm starting on a weekly chart here, and a couple of things that I'm seeing on a weekly chart is that we have a higher low still forming here. Okay, a higher low that is still formed right here off of this previous high of 585, 586. So we're holding that, and you can see that this candle body is still above this previous candle close. So that's 586. So as long as we hold that, every pullback is going to get bought up, and we're going to try to retest and rotate back to the high. The stock market goes up 75 to 80% of the time over a long period of time. So the only time that you want to think more bearish in nature is if the change of direction truly changes. Okay. And that's what I mean by long-term broad view, that we are still in an overall bullish market. So there is no talk of any bearish nature long term. If you saw my thumbnail today, why there may be more selling coming in, I'm just talking about short term. Okay, short term. Okay, because if for whatever reason we close this week on a lower high, okay, it's a slight indication that we have changed direction. Okay, if we close this week and we get bullish over 595 and push into 597 plus, we're most likely going to retest 600. Okay, so we need to get above that 594, 595 range. All right, and after hours, you can see that we had some selling coming in towards the latter half of the day. So if I come into here to extended hours, look at this selling. It started to come in right at 595. Okay, so if this is true, then all this could be is a potential lower high that could start creating some sells back down and get aggressive. Okay, so watch out for that you don't get caught in trying to chase this upside into resistance until you have confirmation. I was telling my community in live trading today that you have to trade the range. So the range has been from 586, right, up to that top end of 593. Once we broke 593, now we can turn that into a support zone. So here's the level here, 586, 593. That was the range that we were trading in right here for the last couple of days. And today we formed this higher low right here, right here, right here. And are we going to do it again tomorrow, or do we start breaking trend back below 589? All right. So you want to see that this 593 holds up. If it does, and we start to retest the high, we can take it out like that. All right. If we see a breakdown underneath 593 and start approaching into that 590, you want to look out for this 589 to hold up. All right. So all this is a higher stair-stepping move back to the upside. All right. You cannot get too bearish or trade puts, right? Which I personally like to trade puts. I know that's it's kind of counterintuitive to the market. I just like to trade off of the fear that a lot of people have or get people caught slipping, right? We stair step up. I like trading calls on deep pullbacks like we had today. So we had a deep pullback. I was signaling to my community, please be mindful. If we reclaim 589, we could squeeze back up and rotate for about 3 to 4 points. And that's what happened. All right. So do not play against the trend if you aren't experienced or you don't know what you're doing. Please just wait for pullbacks. Watch the support until we break. All right. So there's my levels on SPY. And if you want to chart this out on your specific chart, you can kind of see here what it's looking like. Okay. So mark these levels out and watch and react to them if you are options trading or you're trading. For my long-term investors, all you want to do is get a sentiment. So Brian, what does this mean? Like if I'm only in my 401k, Roth IRA, things like that. Okay. That means that we're sitting at all-time highs still. All right. I'm not saying that we can't go higher. There's a projection for 650, right? The market goes up, and especially with this new administration in and just being extremely bullish, innovative, things of that nature, right? It could go up higher, right? I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that you want to have, those potential, I like to say in the short term, about a 2 to 3% pullback during that week, potentially 5% in the market. So if I come here and look at this pullback from 600, right, back to about 581, okay, that gives me, look at this right here. You see right there, 3%, okay? That is a solid dip in the short term over a week period. You can see 8 days, okay? 2-week period roughly. So that is a time to buy the dip. Now, what if we get another pullback from here in this lower high and we get another deep pullback back to just say 575, okay? That is very possible. That'll be a measured leg move from here, okay? For those that are new, measured leg means if I take this leg and move it here and this starts breaking down, right, that takes me to this next zone, which would be about 575 to 577, okay? So that is how to get your zones ready to go so you're not caught off guard if some crazy selling or if we break above and you know exactly what's happening, okay? Because this could easily be flipped and come this way, right? And now we're off to all-time highs again. We're back in extreme greed. We get the Santa Claus rally, right? And there you go. Okay, so please pay attention to what's happening here is that we're still on a weekly time frame forming a lower high and getting some selling coming in right at 595. They could start getting aggressive to fill this gap back down to 580. All right, so let's see how this week finishes off and into the Thanksgiving holiday. People might want to take some profits, right? We had a huge run into the election. When you want to take some profits going into the holiday season, it is normal. This is typical for the market leading into Thanksgiving and then getting bullish into the holidays. All right. So be on watch for this pullback here. If you want to sit it out for puts, wait until you get that drop and ride it into the end of the year. All right. Let's jump into, so there's SPY, QQQ really quick. Now you got a sentiment on SPY, same thing with QQQ. You can see here that it may want a little bit higher, right? We're getting some resistance stepping in a little bit early, in my opinion. Okay. 507. And if I zoom out here to a weekly, you can see that we held up this previous high at 497. Okay, 496, 497, anywhere above here. Now, I want to make sure that I mark this high and I mark this high, which is 503. Okay. So as long as we're above 503, okay, we can remain bullish and push up and retest the high. This is a strong weekly candle that's forming and it needs to continue. If for whatever reason we get more selling coming in, we could push a little bit higher and then it could retrace back. But this is a solid daily candle of bullish nature that I could see continue to rotate back up to the high for tech. And I'll show you the reason why. Okay. So look out for 515 overhead and look out for how the weekly candle is forming here. And it's a little bit in between, in my opinion, right? There's a little bit of buyers down here and there's some sellers stepping in. So it's about equal, in my opinion, right in the middle of here. But we're still forming this low, higher low formation. Okay, so we need to see what the action looks like. So levels intraday would be 503, okay? And then 500. 503, 500, right there. Those two levels, this yellow zone, this caution zone is still bullish nature, okay? So if I draw this here, these higher lows on this trend line, that is very much his stair step, and then continue. Okay, but look how much selling pressure is coming into here. Okay, we grind up, elevator down, grind up, elevator down. Okay, if we grind up again, another big elevator down could come in. So how us investors, especially technical investors, are seeing this is that this could simply be with all this selling pressure that came in, right, on last Friday, right, last week. Then we have this grind up into a lower high, okay? So all that is a potential bear flag that if we grind up higher, could be another leg down very similar to this, okay? And we've got some lower levels on the way. So look out for that, okay? Just giving you a sentiment so you're not shocked, or if something comes in, please be mindful that as you chase calls, or if you're in calls, or if you're trying to ride equity shares up a little bit more, do not be surprised if we pull back just a little bit lower, right? And then you can buy up that dip and ride it back, okay? So just on watch, okay? I'm not saying we can't go higher, okay? There's a little bit more gap to fill. I would say about 509, 510 will be my level that I could see QQQ grinding into, right? And then potentially elevator down into Thanksgiving. All right, let's jump into NVIDIA. Now, this is a lesson that I talked about. If you go listen to my bull trap video, okay, bull trap video, you'll see the headline. It says bull trap. All right. Why did NVIDIA fake everybody out today? Okay. It didn't fake us out because I told the community, hey, there's sentiment on the earnings. They beat earnings. Okay. If you've not listened also to how to trade earnings video, go listen to that as well. It says trade earnings on my page. This is one of the most frustrating things for newer investors, or as I like to be calling, the free Robinhood Facebook groups. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. The free Robinhood Facebook groups where you hear people saying that, oh my gosh, NVIDIA is going to 200, blah, blah, blah. I'm not betting against NVIDIA. I'm not negative in any connotation, but you want to think like big money. Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. So NVIDIA and their earnings, they beat, but as NVIDIA gets larger and larger and larger and larger, we've made the reference, if you are in the professional sports league, like you are an NFL player and you're the top of your game, and you're LeBron, you're at the top of your game, you're Kobe, you're at the top of your game, at some point, those measurements are going to get so high that you're going to miss the mark just slightly and they're going to write you off, okay? So NVIDIA just slightly beat, okay? It wasn't a massive thing, and they still have some AI situation chips going, Blackwell chips that are overheating, some interesting things that are, if you're an investor, you're like, that's a little concerning. So even though they were pushing up pre-market, okay, investors were like, we're gonna take our profits. Okay, we're just gonna take our profits and be safe. So as it pushed higher, if you jump into calls immediately, or you were like, man, my NVIDIA shares are going crazy, and then it pulled all the way back 10 points, and you're wondering what happened, it frustrates a lot of people. You've got to read into the company, which is the fundamental analysis. What did their earnings report say? Their earnings report was solid. The Jung was talking about the T word came in, tariffs came in. What is he going to do, or what is the company going to do? They responded with, well, we'll have to see. We'll keep update. We've always been up to date. We'll keep up to date. We'll know when that happens, and we'll deal with it. I get it. Like, he can't say anything else, right? So that's why you had that major push down, but it's NVIDIA, right? And they beat earnings. So the dip got bought up and it slightly closed from a lower high. Okay. So we had a close that was roughly around the same close as yesterday. So we had this close right here, okay, which was around 146, and we closed around equal. So you're talking about before earnings, it was flat pretty much during earnings. Now you see what it's doing after hours, that we could have more selling coming in on NVIDIA because guess what? We have now formed a lower high officially after their earnings, right? Do you see this? So you've formed a lower high with aggressive sellers coming in that could push NVIDIA even further down, in my opinion, down to this 135 level. I could definitely see that happening. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not on Friday, but maybe next week. Look out for that. If it doesn't happen, I'm okay. You need a solid break above 150. If you have a solid 5-minute break close, or you have a solid 15 or an hourly close candle above 150, cool, take it up, right? Take it up. But you've got to let it break 150 solidly, okay? That means that, look at this hourly candle. It closed back below 150. So what I'm talking about, an hourly close, I'm on an hourly time frame. I need a candle close on an hour like this. That would give me solid confirmation if a candle closed above 150. All right. So look out for that on NVIDIA. This candle closed, the body of the candle closed below 150. Okay. I don't care about this wick up here. Okay. So look out for that. All right. Another news is Google. Okay. Google. It's been having some negative news, and I'm still bullish on Google personally. And I'm actually glad this is happening because it gives, more negative news, shakes people out, and gets us in at a lower price. So I personally want Google back at this fill in the gap potentially if some tariff situation comes in or we get a pullback even deeper. But do you see that Google was getting a little bit stuck at this 180 level here, and it pulled back heavily? Now it's broken trend. So now it's going to turn 169 into a resistance. Okay. So this 169, it was formerly support. I've now turned it into a resistance to come lower into the 160s and potentially back into these 150s. All right. Which is where I love it even better. Okay. So look out for Google. This being turning weak. If it continues to hold underneath this 170, cool, take it down. If it starts to break back above and reclaim 170, cool, take it back up. All right. So I believe, in my opinion, especially for beginners, I've been talking to my community, that people that would want to take easier trades, and I'll show you what that looks like. I signaled this trade to my community. Okay. And I said, hey guys, earlier in the week, option signals. Right here, November 18th, at the time of this recording, 21st of November, 2024. For those looking for a trade this week, maybe into tomorrow, that's manageable, Google under 176 with a move back into 170, or wait till it fills the gap right here, and then you can take it back up if it holds 169. Contracts to consider. I gave the contracts. These contracts went from about 70 to 80 bucks to about $700 to $800. Okay, so you're talking about 700 to 800% on your money. All right. So look at this. Technicals on point, like I'm showing you in these YouTube videos right there. And it moved all the way up into 178. So this yellow line that I have here, right, that was the higher level that I believe was a better add for puts. But I did watch for this 176 level. Okay. And guess what? It rolled over and came back down right to this 169 and then blasted through 169, if you can see right here, because it had a little bit of negative news. So here's how the chart looked before, right? 176 came down a little bit, bigger level, and then big push down. All right. So how did you know that, Dr. B? It's because there's still a lower high. So you've got to look at the bigger picture and zoom out sometimes to see exactly what I'm talking about on NVIDIA. This lower high that's forming, and then if it decides to continue to hold, it's going to start getting aggressive. Okay, very similar to Google. All right, so look out for that. All right, let's look at some other honorable mentions, and I'll get us out of here. Let's just check out Bitcoin. Let's just go straight to it. All right, got to make a mention of it. I'll make another video when Bitcoin hits 100K, but just for those crypto folks wanting to know what's going to happen, I personally think there may be a little bit of selling at 100K, just a little bit of selling at 100K. But there's going to be some bag holders, right? They're going to think it's going to go to 120, 130, and it will, right? But 100K, maybe in a push over 100K, right, into 102, just a little bit. And then I do believe there's going to be a little bit of selling to come back down. It's not going to tank, in my opinion, but who knows? But it's definitely going to hit 100K by tomorrow, into the week, or into the weekend. All right. So look out for that 100K. A lot of people have been waiting on. It's going absolutely nuts. Okay. MicroStrategy, another one going absolutely nuts. But you can see here that it was getting a little bit overextended and looking at people taking their profits. Okay. It was starting to approach very close to this 600 level, right? Very close. I told my community here, I didn't move this. If y'all see that, I didn't touch this. It's coming very close to that 600 level. And obviously, the closer Bitcoin got to 100K, the cryptocurrencies or the companies associated with crypto, like Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy, is going to start having some profit taking coming in. It does not mean that it's going out of business, nothing's happening, but you got to be aware the more the grind up, eventually there's going to be a massive profit taking coming in, and it went from 550 back down to almost 300. So you're talking about a 100 point move plus, right? So you can't keep chasing these things if you're not positioned yet. If you're already positioned, right, you're going to start seeing some selling or a gap up that happened come in, and the selling is going to start happening. All right. So where do you go from this big wick here on MicroStrategy? I want MicroStrategy personally back down to this 300, and maybe we get more selling coming into the end of the year, and then take MicroStrategy back up to 600 plus, right? Once it cools off, and hopefully at some point we get this 300 level or tick right below 300, and that would form this higher low right on that trend line. Okay. So this is what I would love to see personally, if it can do it. Okay. One more leg down, and that would be everyone's entry point potentially to take MicroStrategy back up underneath $300. Okay. Consolidation, breakout, big breakout, and then pull back slightly, fill this gap, come back down to that 9 EMA. If I turn the moving averages on, right, it's a little bit more than that, right, if possible. Okay. But it did come back to a previous high here, which was right around 380, and it reclaimed 400. So this could be the next leg up, right? I'm not betting against it, but I would love this 275 to 300 level to happen again if possible. Okay. So great pullback for MicroStrategy. This could be an entry point for you to ride it back up to 600 from here, or potentially if we get more selling coming in the market, it could ride it back down to take another measured leg move back down to that, like that. All right. All right, everybody. Well, peace, love, and blessings to you. Thank you all so much. I was just making sure I went through everything else. Another one, really quick, notable mention before we leave. Apple's been very interesting. Okay. It's been doing this weird stuff right here where it's either you're ready to break out and go crazy, right? Or Apple, for some reason, will break out of this trend and come back down to 221 and 215. Right now, it's still holding this interesting. It's got to break above 230. So just kind of keep your eye on Apple. It's been doing some weird choppiness, ugliness right in here as of late. But, Apple's sneaky with it. Apple's sneaky with it right behind NVIDIA. Okay. We need Apple and NVIDIA, the largest two companies right now, to do their thing and hold up. Because if those two get weak, right, the market's coming back. Or if the market gets weak and those also start to follow, that's when you get that selling pressure coming in. So watch for these lower levels. Get your buy zones ready to go on Apple. If it breaks below this moving average here of 225, 224, and comes back down to that 221 level. The next level below that is bound out to 215. Okay. So watch out for Apple, and also watch out for NVIDIA to know which direction the market is going to potentially be moving. All right. All right. There's my update. Thank you all so much. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Make sure you join Leverage University down below. Type in that BF 2024 into the university section. Get yourself 20% off. Come inside of our community. There's many plans available to you. I would love to have you. And don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. And I will see you all in the next video, and some of you in that stock market trading boot camp in the beginning of December. Peace, love, and blessings. Talk to you later. Bye.